Warning, this episode of OK What Now contains spoilers for the movie 47 Meters Down. 47 Meters Down is a movie that stars Mandy Moore, hello, and Claire Holt, hello, as two sisters, and they go down to Mexico and they decide to go on a boat out into the ocean with a couple of guys, and they go into the boat and go into a cage to go dive down with sharks, which is, I guess, a thing that people actually do. Anyway, Lisa and Kate, they're dressed in the movie. They're not naked, but they get into the boat and they go out into the ocean. And first the guys do, there's Javier and there was a Michael, I think, and they go into the cage and then they come back up and then it's their turn. They're like, oh, I'm so scared, I don't really want to do it. And her other sister is like, yeah, but we need to do it. We decided we were going to do this. So they get into the cage and they go into the water and it's really cool and there's a shark swimming around. But they're in the cage and they're safe. But then they get freaked out and they're like, I want to come back up. So they're coming back up out of the cage and the rope breaks and their cage goes all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. Oh no, we're trapped. So then they're trapped down there at the bottom of the ocean. The sharks are all like, hey, you're food, I'm gonna come get you. And they swim around, but they're in the cage, so the shark can't get them. But they can't talk to the radio people up on the boat, so they have to get out of the cage and go swim up so that they can talk to people in the boat and say, hey, we're trapped down here, come send somebody to help us. So she goes swimming, comes back down into the cage, the shark swims after her, and she told the boat people to come rescue them. And they send Javier down to go rescue them. And it's really dark because it's the bottom of the ocean. And Javier, they see his flashlight off in the distance, but they don't see him. And it's because Javier got eaten by a shark. Hold on. Ugh. And only left his arm holding the flashlight, which is what they saw. So anyway, they're still stuck down at the bottom of the ocean. The boat people finally send another spare rod of... Oh, actually, Javier had a rod or a spare rope. And he gets it hooked onto their cage, starts to bring them up, and then that rope breaks, because these girls have really bad luck with ropes and cages, apparently. And they go tumbling back down to the bottom of the ocean. And this time, Mandy Moore's leg gets trapped under the cage. And her sister's like, I have to go rescue you. So she goes out of the cage, and another shark comes by and takes her sister. And she's like, oh no, now I'm here all by myself. What am I going to do? And the radio people up here send down some extra air for her because she's running out of air and is afraid she's going to die. She gets hooked up with her new scuba gear, and she uses the scuba gear's inflation thing to lift the cage off of her leg. Then she gets out of the cage and she starts going up. She gets up to the... Oh, and she finds out that her sister is actually still alive because she got away from the shark. So they swim together and they get up to the top of the place and back onto the boat. And when they're on the boat, she's looking at her hand that is bleeding. She's like, wow, why is my blood all floating in the sky? And it turns out that all of that was just her imagination, because she's still actually down at the bottom of the ocean, trapped underneath the cage. But then the Coast Guard comes and rescues her for real, but her sister actually got eaten by a shark. And that's how the movie ends, with her being rescued, but her sister is still dead. So that was the end of 47 Meters Down. Hope you enjoyed my retelling of it, because that was what it was. Anyway, thanks for watching, because YouTube without you would be yuppie.